Hello, my fellow travelers through the universe. Welcome to the Truth and Sanity Show. This is our first show. My name is Billy P. I'll be your host. And what we're going to do on this channel is talk about issues which I think are important, especially in these dangerous times for the democracy and future of this country. As many of you know, we have Corporal Bone Spurs in the White House, hopefully for not too much longer. But I consider him the greatest threat to this country since the Civil War. On this show, we're going to be talking about different topics and issues. Confederacy, Corporal Bone Spurs, immigration, police brutality, and any issue which I want to share with you or get off my chest. This channel is not for Trump lovers, cultists. This channel is not for people who think the earth is flat and believe in Q and a host of other lizard people living in the bottom of the White House. This channel is for people who seek truth through science, through learning, and through common sense. I myself returned to school at 44 with a high school diploma, and in 2012 I got my Ph.D. I've been teaching for 14 years at a community college. I'm 66 this September, so you can do the math. This channel, this Truth and Sanity channel, is basically for me. My wife gets tired of me spouting off all of these proclamations about what's going on in the world, so I figured, let me do it on here, and that way I'll get it off my chest, and anybody who wants to listen or comment, that's fine. So do the subscribe and like or unlike or comment, whatever it is at the bottom. So today I want to talk about the Confederacy. I was born in Montgomery, Alabama. I went back every year to visit my grandfather, who was probably racist, but very nice to me, loving guy to me. And I liked the country, but I can remember as we traveled through the summers seeing road signs that said this road sponsored by KKK. When I went back after my first divorce in the 80s, I went out with a black woman and was quickly told that was not a smart thing to do. Don't ever be caught walking the streets in Montgomery, Alabama. So, I know the area. I know what it's like. I know the history. So what we have now is, because of the George Floyd, of course, the protests, which I think are really going to make a change. Even Mississippi has supposedly, last I looked, was going to take the Confederate symbol off their flag, which is great. But they are continuing, especially through fixed news, Rupert Murdoch's assault on American news, who they constantly show are weeping or shaking their fists with their M14s, talking about taking away Confederate symbols, statues, names on schools and museums and forts for armed services, is somehow doing away with their heritage. So my question is this: what are you so proud of your Confederate heritage? Here's the truth, because this is the Truth and Sanity channel. The Civil War was fought for one purpose, and one purpose only: to keep the slaves that the southern states owned and to expand that slavery to Kansas, other territories, Cuba, and South America. That's what it was fought about, and that was the main thing, the only thing, and the only reason that the southern states seceded from the Union, fought under a foreign flag, gave allegiance to that flag, and then killed hundreds of thousands of Americans who gave allegiance to the American flag. These are traitors. These are slave owners, racists, degenerates, people who wanted to continue the most horrible institution ever created by mankind on this earth. To own other people, to make them work their entire lives with no hope of their life getting better, to take away their families whenever they felt like it, to sell them just like they did their cattle and horses. For generation after generation after generation after generation, to be born into that system, and you become aware and you look around you and you realize all I am is a workhorse. I'll never have anything better. And I'm told that this is the way it was, and this is the way it's going to be. How, as a human being, do I not sit there in utter agony at the horror of this? Imagine if aliens took you to a planet and you woke there and all you were going to do was just work for them as slaves. What would you think? See, human beings today, especially white people, just can't picture how the horror of that, especially generation after generation. Remember, slavery is like 400 years, and it wasn't that long ago when it ended. As Louis C.K. said, 2 70-year-old white ladies dying and living back to back. And after that, of course, it wasn't party and cake. We had Jim Crow, lynchings, and even to yesterday, a couple of days, right, Mr. George Floyd. This has been going on for decades, and it has to stop. Those who fought under the Confederate flag are rebels. Read Ulysses S. Grant's memoirs. They were rebels. These were traitors to the United States of America. And they pledged their allegiance to another flag, and they wanted to break up the Union to own people. That's it. Now, why do you want to keep flying that flag? Why do you want to put it on your trucks? Why do you want to wear it on your hats? Why do you cry when people take down one of the statues of these reprobable, like all these generals that own slaves themselves? Why? Please tell me in the comments if you're one of those people who think you're going to lose your Confederate heritage. Please explain to me what the pride is in that heritage. That you turned your back on the American flag, gave the allegiance to a different flag, and killed Americans by the thousands, the tens of thousands, so that you could keep owning people. Please tell me where that pride is. What is that pride about? I defy you to tell me. And don't say it's heritage. What's the heritage? The heritage of owning people? Freedom? What about their freedom? 4 million slaves during the Confederacy at the time. 4 million people in bondage. And that was just at the Civil War. Let's not forget the hundreds of years of slavery. The millions upon millions of people who were born into this world. And we only get one chance at this world. They had the blessing of being born into this world, and they spent their entire lives under the yoke, morning to night, with no future and no hope. Death was an escape. Where's the pride in that? What are you celebrating? Please tell me. I am absolutely dying to know what your heritage is so beautiful. What's so important about that heritage? To me, I'd be ashamed of it. I'd want to completely wipe it off the face of the earth. But you seem to be determined to keep those statues up of slave owners, people who practice this barbaric institution. And if you don't believe me that the Civil War was about nothing but slavery, at one time, some of the Southerners before the secession were trying to soft code it as they do today with, oh, states' rights. And the Richmond newspaper in Richmond, Virginia, made it very clear when they said, we are fighting for independence, that our great and necessary domestic institution of slavery shall be preserved. It was all about slavery. Mississippi, when they seceded, our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery, the greatest material interest in the world. Its labor supplies the product which constitutes by far the largest and most important portions of commerce of the earth. Slavery. We want to own slaves. We want to expand the territories we can own people. And we want this to continue forever. That's what it was about. Nothing else. Nothing else. A way of life. The plantation owner, the white supremacist owning people. That's what it was about. Nothing else. So where is the pride in that when your great-great-grandfather killed Americans at Gettysburg, at Shenandoah? Where was the pride in that? You killed Americans. Your forefathers of the Confederacy. So where's the pride in that? They were fighting to keep slaves. So there you have it. That's what it was about. Let's get rid of these statues and names. Let's make it more inviting. Why? I mean, if you wonder why people don't feel part of this country when they have to go to a school that's named after slave owners, come on. Let's get rid of this stuff. It's way overdue to get rid of it. Let's make this a nation of people who firmly say we believe in equality and not in slavery or the romance of a time that people believed in slavery. The Confederate flag, the Confederacy should be abolished. And in fact, it should be outlawed. I mean, if you look at Germany, the swastika is outlawed. The same should go for the Confederate flag. Any symbol. It's a symbol of hate. It's a symbol of slavery. It's a symbol of the institution of slavery. Let's get rid of it. We're better than that. It's nothing to be proud of. Believe me, as a Southerner, born a Southerner, I don't think there's anything to be proud of. It's horrid. So let's get rid of it. Well, that's today's show, folks. Hope to see you again. And keep on keeping on in this great journey through the universe. This is Billy P. signing out. Bye-bye.